All right, welcome everybody to the Weiner Wellness Virtual Summit. And my name is Tracy Straub. I will be your host for the next couple of incredible lectures that we have. Right now coming up is Meg Fisher. She's an MS, HHC, CPT. She has so many alphabet soup after her name. This girl is qualified and ready to go with an awesome lecture on banishing emotional eating through faith, fun, and fitness. Is that what we're doing? So Meg, I would really love for you to just give us a little background and information on yourself as I pull up your PowerPoint, and I'm just going to let you take it from here. This is going to be great.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right, we're all set. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, go ahead and hit it.
Okay, well, Tracy, thank you so much for inviting me to this event. It's so exciting when people just come together and want to share a wealth of knowledge for people. My passion has really been emotional eating. And as a mother, it kind of has branched out into helping women with emotional eating. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so how many mamas out there? You raise your hand. I can't see you, but I can see you raising your hand. Welcome to the most beautiful, exhausting, precious journey in life. Can you relate with that? Yes, motherhood is wonderful, but it's filled with hormones, exhaustion, and everything in between. Sound familiar though, if you're relating motherhood and maybe emotional eating? Just a few questions to ask yourself. You enjoy eating the last pieces left on your kid's plate? Yeah. You run to the fridge when your kids are out of control, you're stressed because the food gives you a sense of comfort, Other reasons you might eat for emotional reasons as a mother: postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, sleepless nights, because we all know babies don't sleep right away. Things like that. And you just constantly feel needed. And sometimes food is that one comfort that you feel loves you back, even though it doesn't. So if you can relate to that, that has totally been me. So that's why I'm really passionate about this topic. I always joke, my husband can look at a plate of cookies and just not even care. I used to be able to look at a plate of cookies and I'm like, I don't want a cookie. I want all those cookies and then I want something else. That's when I knew I was eating for emotional reasons. Another reason you find food more comforting than God's word. And that was something that I really struggled with. If you've been there, that I was going to food and not God first for my comfort. So my question today is, do you know your triggers? Do you know what makes you eat? So just some thoughts to have in the background today to be thinking about. I look at weight loss from a whole circle of things and not just eat this and that, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But go ahead, Tracy, you can get the next slide. Awesome. Just a little bit about myself. My husband and I, we have been married for, I think, 11 years. And I met him as soon as he was a Marine. So we've been all over for 11 years. Our life was so awesome in the Marine Corps. He did get out, so we are in civilian life and we are loving it. So I'm very passionate to work with moms because in the military, a lot of moms are stay-at-home moms or work a lot with their kids because we're kind of on the home front here. We're kind of mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, we're everything to our children. And that's kind of where the passion started. So we have a daughter, she's 6, her name's Sydney, and then we have a 1-year-old, her name's Savannah, and we have lots of pets. I have some education, you can see here, in naturopathy, holistic nutrition, exercise phys. I teach fitness classes. That is a huge passion of mine. I love nothing more than to see women come together and exercise and support each other. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But that has really helped me with my journey to stress eating or emotional eating. And I'm also the owner of Meg Fisher Wellness. I've been here since 2013. It's an online business. Okay, you can go ahead and get the next slide. So what is emotional eating? Awesome. It's a tendency to respond to stressful, difficult feelings by eating, even if we're not hungry. Can you relate to that? Emotional eating or emotional hunger is a craving, oftentimes for a high calorie food. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but a lot of times it is. You know, you hear women say, oh man, I'm craving chocolate or craving pasta, something really hearty. So it's about 40% of people tend to eat when stressed. I would like to say that it's probably higher with women, just because I feel like we have so many different roles and we're constantly thinking about what the next thing we have to do is, right? So one of the hard things about emotional eating is you can't just avoid food, right? I always say that an alcoholic, if they need to quit drinking, they just avoid alcohol generally, right? Same with any other addiction, but food addictions is a little bit different, because if we don't eat, we're not going to live. And so with food addictions, we really have to dig deep and get to the root of the issue, or else it's probably going to keep coming back. So that's what we're really going to dive into today, that I'm excited. My story with food addiction has really gone different ways. I've always been kind of a type A personality, if you can relate to that. So that perfectionist tendency has been 10 years old. And early on, it spiked an eating disorder, anorexia, which led to bulimia in college. Again, I was never getting to the root of the issue. Is that something that you guys can relate to, that you feel like you're always battling with food and you're just taking one issue to the next, but you're not really getting to the core? That's where I really was. And then I think it was probably my husband's first deployment was when I realized I was out of control eating for emotional reasons. And that's why I went back to school, so I could find some natural ways to deal with stress and anxiety, which to me was part of the core of my issue. So that's where that started. And then when you're a mother, you just have all these other things that stress us out. So it's really working with that issue. So we'll stay on this slide. The method I use is a different approach to weight loss. So it's not necessarily everybody eats this and then you lose weight. I really do feel God created us all to be individuals. And so we all lose weight or look at food a different way. And that's why I love this wheel here. They call it the wheel of successful health. Sometimes with clients, I call it the circle of life. So say in the circle, you have areas that aren't as high out in your circle, okay? And so say it's closer to the middle if you're not, say, as well in the mental level. And you want your wheel, just like any other wheel, to be perfectly round. So when you look at emotional eating, you want to look at all of these factors, which we'll talk about, and make sure that that wheel is as round as you can get. Don't worry about perfection, but getting it to the best you can so that you can stop eating when you're really stressed out. It takes a team to help you. And what I mean by that is when you're really, really struggling with food, with running to food for comfort, it really gives you that instant gratification. I really suggest different outlets to go to, and we'll go through each one and not just going to a nutritionist and they tell you what to eat, but you really need to look at all these different areas in life to really get to the root of the issue. And this is what has helped me tremendously. So I'm really excited to share with you guys. And I think that's it. You can get the next slide. Okay, spiritual guide for weight loss. I don't know where you are in your journey with God, but I will tell you, nothing is possible without God. And that has given me that constant knowing that I need Christ in my life to get through this, the emotional battle with food. That has been the number one most helpful thing. So I just put a few verses here that has really given me some comfort in days that I feel like I would just rather go eat a whole piece of pizza because it would be so much easier right now, or I think so. Just a couple of my favorites. Hebrews 12:11 says, all discipline for the moment seems to not be joyful, but sorrowful. Yet to those who have been trained by it afterwards, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. Jeremiah 32:27 says, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is anything too difficult for me? And I love that verse because the days that I don't feel that I'm strong enough, it's okay to say that. And we give these things to God because he has won our battles and we just have to put that trust in him. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not lose heart in doing good, for in due time we will reap if we do not grow weary. The last one is Psalm 61:1-2. Hear my cry, O God. Give heed to my prayers. From the end of earth, I call to you when my heart is faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And, you know, Psalms has really been comforting for me or anyone that's going through a difficult time. Sometimes you just open up Psalms and just read through some of these verses that really give encouragement when you just feel like you just can't get through this. You know, every time you go to eat, it's just a battle and you feel like you can't win. Again, the battle's been won, but it's really good to go to God during this time that you're trying to get over this battle with food. And finally, accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior is the most important thing. Also, daily prayer, you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just, hey, God, I'm struggling today, I need you. You know, those are really things that are going to help with weight loss long-term, to keep it off and stop running to food and knowing we can't do it without God. So next slide. Okay, physical health. This one is so exciting. When you are working with physical health, I hear all the time, what do you think it is? I don't have time to exercise right. Have you been there? Yes. And I always tell people, if you have time for social media, if you have time for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you have time to work out, right? You have 20 minutes a day. Sometimes that's all you need. This is going to be a key component for you, just that you have a healthy outlet. Now, there is such thing as working out too much, but we're going to focus on just finding your workout personality. So my question for you today is, what makes you move? For me, what makes me move is I want to be my best self. And when I exercise, I feel so much better inside and it comes out on the outside. And I have 2 children and a spouse that need me. And that really is one of the other things that just keeps me going. I got to do this for myself, for God, and for my children. So keep that question in mind. What makes you move? Before you take care of anybody else, you have to take care of yourself. And this is something I have found with women. Truthfully, we put ourselves last, right? Do you ever feel like that? You take care of everyone else. And sometimes we do forget to take care of ourselves. So adding that back in, and it doesn't have to be glamorous. It can be 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day is going to help with that. So let's talk about some fitness ideas. If you don't have any, I'm here to help you. Everybody has a different personality for working out. I have some women that are like, you know what, I'm going to work out home. I got my DVDs. I'm good. I don't need to go anywhere. Fine. Some women, such as myself, I have to be around people constantly. That's just my personality. So I have a gym. I teach at a couple gyms. And in that, you know, you meet so many other people, so many moms that are going through a journey together. A lot of times, you know, your kids go to the same school, so you guys have so many different connections. So find what makes you move. Some other ideas are Meetup, meetup.com. I know it sounds like a dating website. It's not. You can go on there and find different events in your community. So say you go to meetup.com and you want to find maybe a mom stroller class or anything on there you can think of locally. should be on there. If you want to find a local group, you can even start them up. That's something I have done before when we were stationed somewhere else. Another thing, get a Fitbit. You can do workout challenges on there. You can track things, all that stuff. And Trainerize, which is a online personal training app, which is really cool. You can get workouts customized. Now, the things that have helped me the most are yoga, Zumba, and dance classes. And here's why. If we're having a hard time with body issues, anxiety, how we feel, we're overeating, I really suggest that you do exercises that help raise self-awareness of your own body. Yoga is tremendous for that. You understand how to breathe better, breathe slow. Zumba, it's something I teach, and the reason I've fallen in love for it, not because I'm a dancer, is because it connects the mind with the movement. You really can just see yourself in a mirror and see your body move and appreciate it. So anytime women are trying to overcome emotional eating, I really suggest something like that to help with self-awareness. Okay, another exciting topic. So we're looking at that circle of life again, that wheel. Another aspect we want to talk about if you're trying to overcome emotional eating is the emotional support. So beneficial. So instead of someone just giving you meal plans, what to eat, sending you on your way, that's great, right? But sometimes as mamas, we need that emotional support. These are things that I suggest that have really helped me when I was on my journey to get through this. And I highly suggest journaling. If you've never journaled, start. You don't have to be a writer. I call it the splurge technique. Basically, you have a journal that maybe you talk about milestones that have gone through the year, or, my kid lost their first tooth, or, whatever. And then you have a splurge journal. And this is the journal that you don't want anybody to read, but you take 5-10 minutes a day and you write exactly how you're feeling, what's going on in your mind, and you splurge it out, right? I remember the first time I've had people do this, they were like, wow, I didn't realize how much pent up anger I had or anxiety. So give it a try, do the splurge technique. So another thing for emotional support is keeping a daily food diary. Diary sounds kind of like 6th grade, right? It doesn't have to be fancy. I thought I had mine with me. Just a little notebook, get from the dollar store, and write down what you plan to eat every day. So you have a plan before the day even starts, and then you go by that. I think a lot of times we need that discipline to help us and have a visual what we're going to eat, so that we're not more likely to binge eat or just grab and go, whatever. One of the best things is you have to have a plan, right? Another thing is Christian counseling. So if you feel like you're dealing with a lot of issues and that may be why you are overeating, talk to someone. It's okay. I've been through counseling a few times. My husband's 3rd deployment, I had a Christian counselor. We talked on the phone, and it was life-changing for me. It really was, and it really helped me see myself better and kind of get a better perspective of why I am the way I am. So these are actually 2 books here that she recommended that were really life-changing for me that I wanted to share with you guys. The first is called A Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Workbook. So again, it's a lot of writing and self-reflection if that's something you want. And then the second one is called Boundaries by Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. So this book is phenomenal. If you feel like you're the mom that can't say no, that you don't have boundaries with people, with friends, family, spouses, and that can lead you feeling overwhelmed. And by the end of the day, the only thing that you want is a piece of food or something to give you comfort. This book is going to be life-changing for you. I hope that it was for me. Highly recommend it. And then daily self-care, obviously, which is very important for moms. And self-care can be different for everybody. start simple. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but it can just be taking a bubble bath. It can be going for a walk on your lunch break, or if your husband gets home from work, or whatever. You have to make time for yourself, or else it's going to be so much harder to make these changes. Okay. And then my last is, I don't know if I have it. Yes, it's called Freedom from Emotional Eating. You're going to hear me start talking a lot now about Barb's books here. There's going to be several that have really been life-changing for me. She's a Christian author, and she really incorporates kind of the spiritual component to emotional eating. And again, it's a workbook. It's pretty deep. So if you're ready for that, I highly encourage that. Okay, next slide. Energy levels. Okay, this is another thing to look at with emotional eating. What's your energy like? Is your energy different from the time you wake up in the morning to the end of the day? Is your energy different if you hang out with people or certain people? You really have to protect yourself, right? And that's where the boundaries come in that we talked before. And now we're going to talk about some energy levels, maybe to do within. So the first one is breathing techniques. This can be breath focus, deep breathing, belly breathing. So if you want to start simple, and that's what I had to do. I struggle with breathing techniques, but it is so beneficial. Even if you're driving in the car, just breathe slow for 4, hold your breath for 2 seconds, and breathe out for 4. There's also an app called Headspace, and they also have breathing techniques on there on your phone. So if you're driving in the car and you want to learn how to do this, give it a try. It's going to be very beneficial. So if you feel like you're about to go eat a bunch of food and you don't want to, breathing techniques along with prayer can really help you. Therapeutic touch, one of my favorite tools for emotional eating. What that is basically is a massage. So deep tissue or Swedish is the two that really kind of I used. When I was really struggling with emotional eating, going through counseling, everything, this is something that the counselor recommended. And she said, it really helps, again, connect yourself again and feel loved. I know a lot of times as women, maybe we just need to feel appreciated, even though we are sometimes, but maybe sometimes it gets overlooked, right? So massage is a great way to just relax, feel loved, appreciate your body. I was getting massages every 3 weeks during my husband's deployment. I don't do that now. It's about once a month or so, but just give it a try. A lot of times you can do a massage for just 30 minutes if you just want to try it and see if that helps with you. I think it boosts self-esteem as well. Another relaxation technique are essential oil baths. I have this really cool little handout that talks about some of the different essential oil baths you can do. Just one to start with, you take a cup of bentonite clay you can get from any health food store, and just put it in your tub. And then another one is just a cup of, I like to do plain Epsom salts and then add my own oils in, and then a box of baking soda, 1 whole box of baking soda, and then 1 tablespoon of ginger to help. It's a bath detox, and then add some essential oils in there to help you relax. So that's more that self-care we're talking about. And you can find things that help you relax. Maybe you haven't found them yet. So this is a great time in your life to discover that. So for me, puzzles were good because it kept my mind focused if I felt like I really was off track or my mind was kind of all over the place. There's a book called Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. And so our thoughts are a lot of times intertwined. So for me, that's what helped. Find what works for you, because you're more likely to stick with it, not what someone else is going to tell you that helps them relax. And then the last piece is mindfulness. I'm not sure if you're aware of this term. It says practice of purposely bringing one's attention to experiences in the present moment. Do you ever feel like you're not in the present moment? Yeah, that maybe you're sitting in church or you're sitting in the office and you're thinking about 10 other things, right? Mindfulness takes you back to the present moment and just being there, right? It sounds crazy and simple, but it really is very helpful. And go, okay, this is where I'm at. This is going to help me, so I'm not more tempted to go and just binge eat. All right. Energy levels continued. One of my favorite pieces is boundaries with food. This has been a game changer if you feel like you eat for emotional reasons. In life, we have boundaries with friends, family, spouses. So why wouldn't we have it with food, right? Maybe some of us don't need that boundary. I do, and I need it for the rest of my life. So let's talk about what the boundaries are. Boundaries with food kind of give us that discipline that we need. It goes beyond just thinking you can do something for so long, but it's saying, no, I need this boundary. I have this boundary in my marriage. I have it with friendships, and I need it with food because this is an area that I've struggled with for me personally. My favorite book, again, I'll talk about Barb Rappling. Love her stuff. I have read pretty much everything that she's had, but she has a cute little book called I Deserve a Donut, and I highly recommend it. She has basically every emotion we feel as humans, and she talks about some of the lies that make us eat, and she puts scripture in there, and then questions you can ask yourself. So say you're feeling anger. Anger's in here. She has a bunch of verses and questions to ask yourself. Why are you feeling angry, etc. She also has a free app. I think it's still called I Deserve a Donut. It's a free app, and it has the same thing. So say you're at work and you're feeling stressed, go to the stress part in the app, go through the questions in the scripture. It's super, super beneficial, and that one's free. So the boundaries for life. I have set 3 boundaries myself, and they've been pretty consistent since about 2013. Boundaries are going to be different for everybody. So a lot of times you have to look at what you're struggling with before you can actually figure out your boundaries. Now, a lot of times you'll maybe set 3 boundaries, and then later on you'll go, no, I need to tweak that. It took me a while to really get the 3 down. I'll just share with you some of mine. I have to sit when I eat, because a lot of times overeating for me happened when I was standing up. I was in the food pantry, somewhere else. So for me, I have to physically sit down. And I know that sounds crazy. It was so helpful. No distractions, because if I'm on my phone, whatnot, I'm going to mindlessly eat. That's where the mindfulness comes in again, right? Another one of mine is I have to pray before every meal. Thank God for the food, and kind of get me in that, again, mindfulness state. So for you, find your triggers, find the things that make you eat. And then this book as well helps you figure out your boundaries in the back of the book. She goes through some exercises with that. Some other examples would be worry, pride, regret, insecurity, you name it, we've felt it all. Something to ask yourself today, though. Okay, energy levels again. We're going to talk about Bach flowers, oils, and supplementation. I love supplements. My husband says that I hoard them. I could talk all day about supplements, but I kept it very short and simple because I wanted to really share the ones that were most important to me. If there's any topic I could talk about, it would be supplements for days. Anyways, these are some other things to look at. Remember that wheel of life? We talked about all these areas need to make that wheel round to keep going, right? So this is another one. Essential oils to help with some emotional wounds, maybe stress, anxiety. I have them listed here. So you can take a screenshot of them as well and, you know, get the essential oils. If you have questions about different oils or things like that, you can send me a message, or even Tracy, about different types. I have found this very beneficial, especially with anxiety. Sometimes I'll just, if I don't have time, I'll just like take off a little oil and just sniff the bottle. I know that sounds silly, but it does. It just has kind of a calming effect. Bach flowers, these are also very beneficial. I just wanted to give you a couple of my favorite. Cherry plum helps with calmness, control. Crab apple, highly recommend that one. And then chestnut bud. So you can get these at any health food store. I actually just saw them at one of our major chains, and I was very excited to see that. Bach flowers. So again, there's some remedies to help you. They're great for emotions. That's why I love Bach flowers. Side note, they even have them for pets. Okay, supplementation. These are things I also work with clients to help calm the nerves, calm anxiety, calm the emotions, because us mamas need that, right? If you want to start simple, 3 things: a good probiotic, some prebiotics, multivitamin, and fish oil. If you just want to start the basics, I would go there. I guess that's 4 if you count prebiotics as well. A couple other things, and again, please consult with your physician before doing any of these. I have a little side note at the bottom if you have any questions. The first one is 5-HTP. I'm a huge fan of this. It helps regulate the mood. A couple notes here. B vitamins help with mood as well. So going back to the HTP, it's a precursor to serotonin. So it's very important. And it was something that really helped me and has helped other clients. Magnesium, recommendation about 500 milligrams a day. This just helps calm the body. It's a muscle relaxer. So the 5-HTP and the magnesium, I normally recommend people take them at night, just so you're not super relaxed all day. Too relaxed, you know. Manganese, excuse me. This is great with sugar cravings. So a lot of women have told me, Megan, once a month, I'm craving some chocolate, you know, I'm craving some cake, whatever. And this can help with that. Valerian root, another one of my favorites. I have this in just like a liquid dropper. I put it in my water before bed. Valerian helps to promote sleep, really helps with the nerves. Zinc is another one. It helps about 15 milligrams a day. It helps to regulate your appetite, which is very important. Fermented cod liver oil, that can help with stress and anxiety as well. So you could even replace the fish oil for the fermented cod liver oil. And then finally, the ashwagandha, I always have a hard time pronouncing this one. Ashwagandha is really beneficial as well for anxiety. I have it in powder form, and I put it in my oatmeal in the morning. It has a little bit of a sweet flavor, so I think it's good for that. I think that's it. Next slide. All right. Every time you put food in your mouth, you're feeding a disease or you're fighting it. Can I get an amen? My oldest, she's always sick of me saying that. The goal is to focus on realistic things. So I don't really support fad diets. I focus on something you're gonna stick with, right? That's not gonna be totally overwhelming, or else you'll probably just wanna give up because we're all really busy. My goal is that I recommend clients get on a custom meal plan or something like that in the beginning. So what that would do basically is teach you, how much do I actually need to eat? Am I eating enough? Am I not eating enough? Am I getting too many carbs? Am I getting too much fat? So that's where the meal plans are very beneficial. And that's where the discipline kind of comes in. So you know at certain times you should eat and things like that. And then you can kind of taper down to meal prep. So that's prepping your food 1 day a week and then eating throughout the week. That's kind of like phase 2. Phase 3 is the tally system. So it's kind of, you know what you need to eat as far as ratios for carbs, proteins, fats. And then you can do it in your head or in your daily food log. Make sense? Okay. Another thing is start simple. If you're not sure where to start, just change your breakfast. Start there. Or leave 20% on your plate. Start there, right? Make more time. If you can take things out of your life to add more time in, have your kids involved. That's going to be so beneficial. Make it fun. Okay? And my secret weapon is the crock pot, because Mama loves the crock pot. I can just throw something in there. It doesn't have to look like Pinterest. And then SMART goals, that's just saying specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So how goals should look so you don't overwhelm yourself. All right, I think we are on the last slide. Yes, okay. Last one, completing that spool, that circle, is some alternative methods that I recommend, and then some more books, because we all know I love books. Okay, chiropractic care, I'm always going to recommend you go see a chiropractor. I just saw one last week for my back, just to get you aligned. Your spine is your lifeline, but they're going to help you as well, and a lot of them are wellness centers, so you can have the chiropractor there, as well as a nutritionist, health coach, you name it. Hi, Sydney. Another thing is OutCat food testing. So if you find like you're not losing weight, even though you're following everything, suggest you try. This is something I've offered for years, and the first time I did it for migraines, it really helped change my life. It's called OutCat food allergy testing. So basically it tests you to see what foods you are sensitive or allergic to. And then acupuncture as well can help with relaxation techniques. Ion foot baths help you detox, which I love. Same with that bath detox we talked about. And then getting your thyroid or hormone levels tested if you feel like you need some additional support. Now, if you don't have insurance or they don't want to cover it, if you go to directlabs.com, you can actually order tests on there for very, very cheap. They even do flash sales sometimes that you go into a lab and then you get the results. Great company. I've worked with them for several years. These are the books that I recommend. Again, the donut book, The Taste for Truth, the Real Vitamin and Mineral book, and then the Hidden Food. I know it's kind of a crazy title, but it goes with the allergy testing. Another good one is the Made to Crave book, and then the Full and Boundaries book that we talked about before. And I think that's it. One more slide and that's it. So that was it. Just some information. I have like some free things that have really helped me with weight loss, about beliefs about ourselves and things like that. And I think that's it. So we open to questions, right, Tracy?
Yes, ma'am. Let me get your slideshow down and stop the share. Well, that was awesome. So I took some notes. I have some questions if nobody else does. Let me get through the feed. I thought your point about triggers was really good, like just knowing, and I love the part where you said, in order to set the boundaries, you have to know what you're struggling with. And I think that can apply even beyond food. You know, because we usually go to food when we're stressed, but if you don't know what is stressing you, then you're not going to know why you're triggering it for the food. So you said you sit down, you always pray before your food. Man, I'm thinking like, how can I go a step before that? Like, what boundaries do I need to implement into my life so that I don't get to that point of stress where I feel like, you know, I'm just going to grab something. But my thing's not really food, so I'll just be honest. So the Boundaries book that you recommend by Dr. Henry Cloud, I love that. My friend did a class on it, and that's how I got introduced to it. And it's a very Christian-based book. It had just great pearls of wisdom in there. And I like the reap what you sow chapter. It's kind of like, you know, if you're not going to set physical boundaries, mental boundaries, or emotional boundaries, you're going to get what you deserve because you're not putting in the right boundaries. And that was kind of impactful where it put the responsibility back on me. But I really enjoyed this simply because, you know, I mean, my background is personal training. That's where I came from. My degree's in exercise science. It's my first degree. And, you know, I used to tell people, you know, programs fail people. People don't fail programs.
Oh,
And
for sure.
they're just not designed. So some of the questions that are popping up are, what programs would you recommend if somebody had to choose one? Is there a diet you like, a program you like, or do you have a specific program that you walk people through?
Yeah, great question. I feel like Tracy, you and I have a lot in common too.
We're like the
I've
same
been a
person.
trainer.
I'm just a
Yeah.
lot older than you.
Yeah, so I've been a personal trainer for years as well. And same thing, you can give someone the most beautiful, wonderful workout, but if they don't have the motivation, it's just not going to work. I don't have a one diet fits all. If there's one that I personally follow, it's the Mediterranean. Just, you know, a lot of healthy fats, lean meats, very little bit amount of carbs. Carbs is my weakness, so that's why I say that. But I don't have a one diet fits everyone type of thing. As far as a workout, I use the Trainerize app for online clients. I've used that for probably about 6 or 7 years, and it gives clients custom workouts. So
Okay.
if someone doesn't want to go to the gym, you can give them workouts that are just with weights or body weight, or you can give them workouts to use at the gym.
Now, which app was that you used?
It's called Trainerize.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to put that in the post. So you also mentioned, you know, people having to know what they like. And that was a big thing. I'm like, if you like something, then do it because you're more inclined to do it. You know, I worked in a gym for 15 years. I have zero desire to go to a gym. Not because I don't like people. It's just I walk in there and I want to correct someone's form. People are asking me questions. You know, it's like I can't like focus or concentrate. And then I feel, you know, if I have my headphones in, it doesn't matter. People will still come over and they're like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hi. Okay. Yes. What question do you have? And not that I don't want to help them. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes you need that boundary for your own personal, you know, health and wellness. And I think that's important for people to take the time. What do you say to guilty moms? You know, what are some of those things you help overcome there? Because that was one of the big excuses in my gym. Time was the first. Yeah. And then, well, I don't want to leave my kids because I feel like I should be with them.
Yeah, good question. I just say make it happen. And I know that a lot of people are like, but I don't have time. And I say make time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have to take things out of our life and just be realistic. If people can say, you know what, I can only devote starting out 3 days a week for 20 minutes, then do that. Mm-hmm. You know, I think a lot of people start out doing 2-hour workouts 6 days a week, and then they feel they can't keep up with it, and then they quit.
Who could, right? I mean, don't set yourself up for failure. It's kind of like opening a business and thinking you're going to hit $5 million the first year. It's just not going to happen. And when you don't hit that goal, you feel like you fail when it's just not a realistic goal. So that's a really good conversation to have with somebody. Is like, set goals that fit your life. You know, you can't overdo something. It's just not going to work. And, you know, I love what you said about priorities. You know, my thing was always show me your schedule. I'll show you your priorities. You know, if it's all like work, kids, football, work, you know, if you don't have health, you don't have anything else. And I think that's the biggest thing that people saw with COVID, right? The people that were susceptible, the people that had the worst time with COVID were those that were already sick. And, you know, it's one of those moments now where people have the opportunity to invest in their health before it becomes an expense, before they're sick. And I think that's the program that you're offering. You know, either way, you're going to pay for it. You might as well pay for it when you feel good and you can actually work and afford it. So very awesome. Thank you so much. Make sure that you give your number and how to connect with you. If you want to go back and answer questions on the feed, you're welcome to. I tagged you on your timeline. Awesome. Thank you, Megan. It was a pleasure to hear from you. And I have my little notes here that I'm going to start putting boundaries in my life because of you.
That's great.
So
thank you so much, Tracy, and everybody else. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
Absolutely. God bless. See you guys.
You too. Thank you.